All right, hello. So sorry, I ran out of media, so I had to reset. So I was at the place wherein I was describing why they use shorter people to approach door, and the reason is that they can hide behind right. They can hide right under the door lock and the handle, so that they can access the lock to disable it, and you won't be able to see them through the door's peephole. So when you look outside, you won't be able to see them, but they are sitting right at the left corner if you're facing the door. And one way to confirm this is you can keep your hallway darker. So if there's a light outside, you will see little um, little blocks of light which are not illuminated, and that way you know that somebody is there. And they will use other tactics such as use a laser pointer to see if you're up, and all this activity happens around 2 a.m. So first of all, they want to know what kind of a state you are in, whether you are up or you are sleeping. They will also scratch the door slowly, like ASMR, to see if you're there. They don't use their names. If they're kind of working in teams of two or three, they will whistle and use other sounds, but you will not hear them calling each other's name. If you are in a hotel, they will use a stairwell, so they will not be coming in via elevators because there are cameras. Stairwells are normally not monitored as well, so that's how they will try to approach your door if you're in a hotel. And a lot of times they're not the bravest and the brightest, so they kind of run if you run towards them. I've seen it uh, on my journey back from Death Valley. There were three black cars, and as soon as I started running towards them, they reversed on the freeway, and then they kind of ran in the reverse direction back towards LA. So they don't want to have their pictures taken. They don't want to have anybody captured. So when they are at the door, so I was talking about there are three parameters. One is when there's a lookout parameter, they are at the door, and then third is they are inside your house. If they are inside your house, you are in the worst position because now they are ready to write their narrative. Police will work with them, and there is there is not much you can do except fight. And the other approach is as soon as they are at the door, you have a choice whether you want to fight them there or just call 911, because they haven't made the entrance yet, so they cannot control what you do just yet. And once they are out at the parameter level where the lookout is happening, you got to be aware of that there is not just the person you see that is involved. There is a person behind a Stingray. He would be directing your calls. So what happened in my case, as I made the call to 911, it did not go through directly to police. It happened first time for me. They started playing messages in Chinese and Korean that allowed the person to run away, and then the call was connected. And then Christina Lates was there to whitewash it. Because I think the whole program works in coordination, cooperation with the local police. In my case, it was the Fillmore Street police station. So when I went there to report it, as soon as I mentioned Stingray, they just were not willing to write. They made me wait for 6 hours, and then they didn't want to take my sworn statement, which the Northern District asked me to have taken, and then they just took an online report, and then they won't give you what they wrote. You have to go 2 weeks later, and then they will do a search, and then you will be again directed back. So essentially, you'll be running back and forth trying to find your report, and it won't be written the way you have said, because they are minimizing. So don't assume that you have access to phone because the Stingray is there. Don't assume that there is only one person involved because there are four people doing lookout. At least two or three are approaching your home, and there's at least one person manning a Stingray. So total of seven, and don't run after them because I have noticed that usually there is a team of three. Two will run and one will stay put, hidden somewhere, who will come after you if you're by yourself going after the other two. So with that in mind, the safest place is to be at home and just call 911